On our first night in Waikiki, we went walking around to get a little feeling for the area, and we kind of just fell in love immediately. And I already have the feeling that we should have stayed longer. Did I get you? Did you click on this video because you wanted to make a comment about how stupid I am? It's a joke, everyone. I know that Hawaii is part of the United States. I had to get your attention somehow.
Haha, joke's on you.
And now that you're here, hang out with me for the next 15 minutes as I go through a quick rundown of everything I did on my first trip to Waikiki up until the moment where I boarded a cruise ship that went to some of the other islands and then over to Vancouver, Canada. And each of the events that I go through in this video are gonna have their own dedicated videos coming up soon. I'm Morgan from the Very Unofficial Travel Guides. I've been making travel videos for over 15 years of popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very honest, unofficial look at what it's like to be there. And I also wrote a book with travel stories about real things that have happened to me while traveling around the world. It's called Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship. It's available on Amazon now. Now let's go to Hawaii. We were already in Portland, Oregon visiting my parents before we flew to Hawaii. So we didn't fly from home, which is Hamburg, Germany. We flew from Portland. We are at the gate now, 3 hours early. It's still early in the morning, and it's weird for me. I have never booked a ticket on a major airline and then not gotten a seat. It feels like I'm flying standby or something. I guess I still have some things to learn about international travel. On our boarding passes that we got from the gate agent, it just said, seat requested. But we did end up getting seats together for the 5.5-hour flight from Portland to Honolulu. It's so cool to be flying over the Hawaiian Islands. It just looks so tropical and dreamy and kind of like Jurassic Park. The Honolulu airport also seems kind of retro in a fun 70s original Disney's Polynesian resort way. And we decided to take an Uber from the airport to our hotel in Waikiki. So you take the elevators upstairs and cross the street to the island. There are signs that say Ride App Pickup Lobby 8. But you can also take the city bus for just $3. And we did take the city bus from Waikiki to the Pearl Harbor Memorial and from Waikiki to the cruise port. And if you want to know about how that works and how easy it was actually, videos coming up about that as well here on the Very Unofficial Travel Guide. So make sure you are subscribed to know when those go online. The hotel that we picked to stay at on Waikiki or in Waikiki is called the White Sands. And people, this is one of my favorite hotels that I have stayed at in the last few years. If you've been on the Very Unofficial Travel Guides for a while, you know I don't usually pick favorites. I'm really bad at picking favorites, but we just really enjoyed the vibe of this place. And in the videos that I will be making about that as well, you'll see what it was about that place that we just, I don't know, it just fit to us. We fit to it. It immediately felt somehow like home and a place I definitely want to spend more time in the future. There was an incident with some sassy, I'm just gonna say it, trashy people in the hot tub too early in the morning. It's shortly past 8 o'clock in the morning. And listen to the sound of these people in the hot tub right now. We're having like a full-on family reunion down there, shortly past 8 o'clock in the morning. Adults and kids. Oh, and using really classy language too. I posted about that in a YouTube short and got a lot of flack for calling these people out, but I'm sticking to my guns and I do not approve of their behavior. On our first night in Waikiki, we went walking around to get a little feeling for the area, and we kind of just fell in love immediately. And I already have the feeling that we should have stayed longer. The White Sands Hotel where we're staying, of course, there's going to be a whole hotel tour coming up. It's so cool, it's so cute, it's so retro. And we had one Mai Tai in the hotel bar by the pool. Now we're walking to the beach to just see the beach. and then it's dinner time. We ended up going to one of the many like open air-ish food court areas for a quick dinner and crashed into bed after a glass of wine. And next morning, we got up pretty early, #jet lag, and we went for a long walk, first to the beach, which wasn't a long walk, but then all the way to one end of Waikiki Beach, and then almost all the way to the other one. And in the middle of that walk, I actually got my very first acai bowl. Who's shocked that I've never tried this before? Let me know in the comments. And one thing that was surprising to me was, for some reason, I didn't know it was frozen. I thought it was like a warm fruit paste, but it's like sorbet, right? And after my first bowl, I understand the hype. It was really good, and I think I had 2 or 3 more of these bowls before leaving Waikiki. Waikiki Beach is beautiful and very popular, and the sun on Hawaii is very strong. Make sure you're wearing your sunscreen because you can get burned there really quickly. That afternoon, we went to lunch in the Royal Hawaiian Center, and this is just one thing about Waikiki. There is such an amazingly high concentration of bars, restaurants, food areas, food trucks. If you can't find something good to eat in Waikiki,
you got a problem.
That being said, the prices are kind of high. I bought a small vegetarian poke bowl with greens and vegetables and marinated tofu, and that and a drink cost me almost $16. So I don't know where you're from, but for the size of this thing, that was kind of a high price, and many things in Waikiki are priced high. In fact, I think I'm going to put together a video about exactly how much we spent in these 3 days in Waikiki. That might be valuable information to anybody who's planning a trip, so look forward to that coming up as well. And that evening, we did something really special. We went to the Diamond Head Luau celebration, and not only is going to a luau special, but on Fridays, the Diamond Head Luau is catered by the food trucks in the area, so they call it Foodie Friday Diamond Head Luau.
And there was some good food.
If you're interested in doing something like this when you visit Oahu, make sure you check back for the upcoming video about this experience separately. There are a lot of different luau experiences that you can go to on the island, and we chose this one for a variety of reasons that I'll be talking about in that video. And just a quick rundown, it started with some arts and crafts, a picture opportunity, a welcome drink. Then they opened the main area, which is all outdoors, had about an hour and a half to go to the food stations to grab a drink, and then the show started. It was a great show. During the show, it did rain, and the luau is actually at the aquarium, so with your luau ticket, if you get there early, you can go through the whole aquarium for free. By the way, the aquarium's pretty small, so we planned like an hour and a half for the aquarium and ended up breezing through it in about 15 minutes, and then we were way too early for the luau. The next morning was then the morning that I was woken up by the rowdy family in the hot tub. And the rest of the afternoon we used to visit the Pearl Harbor Memorial and the USS Arizona Memorial. Visiting a memorial like this is something that I think is a valuable experience for anybody to talk about what happened, why it happened, pay your respects, etc. And it's hard for me to present it because it's not an attraction, it's a memorial. But I will be showing you how to get there and how to get home with the bus in an upcoming video, and a little bit more about how to plan your day and how to get there. And just thanks again to everybody who sent me the suggestions about that and about so many things that we did on this trip. We really have had a great time. When we got back to the hotel that afternoon, we took a short nap. I filmed a room tour, and that night was something really crazy and really special that only happens once a year: the Spam Jam.
Did he just say Spam Jam?
Yes, he did.
Wait, so we're talking about Spam, the meat in a can?
That's the one.
Once a year in Waikiki, they close off an entire street and set up a festival celebrating Spam. And this was actually bigger and crazier than I even imagined it would be. There were so many people there. There were so many different food stands, not all only serving things with just Spam in them. I can't wait to show you that whole evening and just how big it was. It's a really big deal to the people in Waikiki, in Honolulu, in Hawaii. By the way, at Spam Jam, we also got to see a scary bush. Somebody dressed as a bush scaring people is what I mean. If there's anybody watching this who works in a waxing salon, I'm sure you've seen many more scary bushes. We actually only each got one treat at the Spam Jam and ended up going out to dinner later that night at a hole-in-the-wall restaurant called Aloha Table. The reason we ended up going there is because I wanted to try some sort of like traditional local Hawaiian food, and this place had really high reviews, but from the outside it just didn't look like fancy. But because the reviews were so high, I thought, okay, let's try this place. So Marcus and I both got a loco moco, which is rice, gravy, meat patties, and a fried egg on top. I got the vegan version, and we both really enjoyed it. It's not something that we would like make at home, but it was fun to take part in this culinary tradition. It was a lot of food, and altogether dinner cost I think around $55. Speaking of restaurants in Waikiki, there are, like I said, so many shops, so many bars, so many restaurants, so many food stands, and as somebody who hasn't been there ever before, it was my first time there, this trip, it felt like an orientation session for planning a longer next trip. And it was interesting to us walking around, seeing that some of these little food stands, some of these retail shops, they had lines out the door, and we were like, what is it about that shave ice place that everybody wants to wait for? And one of the places that we did decide to try was Marugame Udon Noodles. This is also just like a one-level restaurant in the middle of a block, and at certain times of the day, the line was down the street to get inside. On our last afternoon, before we got in the bus to the port, we were walking around looking for some place for lunch and saw that the line was really short, so we thought, let's do it. And it was definitely worth it. I've had udon noodles around the world, never actually in any Asian countries, but these udon noodles, and especially the broth, it was so good. I did not regret paying almost $13 for this, and I think for something that is this finely crafted, $13 for lunch is an okay price. And after lunch, we then went to one of the shave ice places. For those of you who have also never been to Hawaii, it's not shaved ice, it's Marcus. So as I was saying, it's not shaved ice, it's shave ice, which is, it's basically like a snow cone with tons of different syrups that you can choose from. And a lot of people rave about shave ice, and to be honest, we both did not understand the hype. Yeah, it was okay, but I think we paid like $11 for this mound of shaved ice with a little bit of syrup on it, and we ended up throwing half of it in the trash because it was just like the middle of it was just plain ice. So I don't know, did we go to the wrong place, or did we choose the wrong syrups, or is that just what shave ice is? Because I don't need another one, but I would take another acai bowl. And that afternoon is when we then got back in the city bus over to the cruise port. Was quicker than I imagined it would be, and like I said, it only cost us $3, which is about $23 less than taking an Uber would have cost. Boarding went super quickly, and then we ended up on the ship with plenty of time before sail away, and sail away actually happened about 2.5 hours late. So like I said, if you want to find out more about all those things I just talked about and everything that's coming up that we did on the cruise, please make sure you're subscribed before you go. And I can't wait to show you all of these cool things. I'm Morgan from the Very Unofficial Travel Guides. See you soon.